Welcome to DevOps Accents, a podcast on everything around DevOps, public cloud, and cloud-native topics, with your hosts, Pablo, Leo, and Kirill.
Hi all. Thanks for joining us for another DevOps Accent podcast. With you, as always, every 2 weeks, our wonderful accents. Why are you smiling, guys? You can hear me?
We can hear you. The only thing is that I say go super strong, and then no, but you can continue. You're doing very well. It's not your problem, Leo. It's my problem that I am sometimes a bit stupid. It's only that.
Okay. Anyway, this is just a perfect introduction for Pablo, Kirill, and me, Leo. Say hi to our listeners, guys.
Hello, everyone.
So we are the co-founders of MKDev, a DevOps and cloud-native consulting service provider, and we get together to discuss all sorts of things about DevOps and around it, like conferences, for example. As you know, if you are subscribed to our email newsletter, MKDev Dispatch, and our social media, we just got back from the devopsdays conference in Amsterdam. And this is not our first conference that we have attended, but it is probably the first so far where we have been more active in the role of sponsorship. Is it so, guys? How do you think this conference for us was different from the past one in Porto? And what's your general impression from Amsterdam and devopsdays in Amsterdam?
I'm going to give my opinion, really. So, okay, Kirill, at least he went once to one conference, but okay. I stay on the table for I don't know how many hours. One day it was from 8 to 6, and then we went to the party. But in our case, the ambient atmosphere is super cool. You can see how the people, they want to be inside the rooms, how the people was clapping, they were laughing, You see people enjoying a lot the conferences. And even I like a lot this one because on Thursday they made something super interesting that we can talk about that later on, that they made a party. But it's not like the typical thing, okay, we have 30 minutes party. So the party started at 6 and ended something like 11:30, They have a karaoke, they have a bingo, they have free food and free drinks for everyone. It was a huge event, and even they had even a music event that at the end they had to cancel because these days it was raining a lot. But in my opinion, overall, comparing with others, I think that DevOps Days is a fantastic opportunity for people to learn. And like people like us, for companies to be there, it's a fantastic place. And even a non-profit organization that is even better.
And what's your general impression on the conference itself? And I also would love to know how, on your opinion, it's different from the DevOps Days counterparts in other countries. Because the DevOps Days, as far as I'm aware, is a multinational organization, and they have their people in all the different countries that organize events there, and they are in some way they are different from one another. Once, they have the general idea of the conference and they present the theme of the conference. The other one, they just create a general meetups, more or less, they look like a meetup more than a conference. How this one was different from DevOps Days in Porto? On your opinion, Kirill?
I think what Pablo said. So we sponsored last year DevOps Days Portugal, and we went there as the bronze sponsors. And as the bronze sponsors, we couldn't really have a table or a TV or anything. So we were actually participating in every talk. So we went to all the presentations, to the open spaces. And we didn't get as much exposure, even though we managed to get a talk and actually speak in front of people about Kubernetes for 40 minutes. That was good. That's kind of one of the reasons we do is to expose MKDev brand to the outside world. and to get attention from potential customers, potential coworkers. And in Amsterdam, we were silver sponsors, which includes the table and the roll-up and the TV, which means, as Pablo said, we could not fully immerse ourselves into the conference. I managed to go to one talk. In previous episode, I said I want to go to the survivorship bias talk, and that's the one I went on Friday, even though I attended like 20 minutes out of 30. Still, the talk was great. Like the slides were what I like, with almost no text, and it was really concrete, and all the good advices on how to avoid the hype train for new technologies. But other than this, we were sitting in the corner, handing out stickers and the booklets and talking to people. What was really cool, what did not happen in Porto, is that organizers of this Amsterdam, they came up with the idea of the sponsor passport, which means that everyone got like a piece of paper, not the most beautiful one. It's like just a A4 printout with the logo of every sponsor. And you could go to every single sponsor, get a stamp on this paper, and then everyone who had a ticket for 3 days and collect those stamps could win something. So actually, a friend of mine, Pablo left a bit earlier, but a friend of mine, Nico, he won power bank from Anchor because he collected all the stamps.
Ah, man.
And he was one of the winners. And
wow, cool.
The biggest prize, he won the power bank, yes. And in total, there were lots of prizes, and I think that's where also like a big part of the budget for the conference went out. And the biggest prize was this Millennium Falcon Lego set, which is 75,000 piece. And the guy who won it, he was basically like carrying like this on top of his head because it was so fucking heavy. And when he was trying to make a photo, like he held it with one hand, and then it was just too heavy, and it's really hard.
And the lady who won our iPad, because we were giving away an iPad Pro, so the biggest prize in the whole conference. So this lady, she didn't win anything else, no? Because she won a drone and she won our iPad Pro, no? Nothing else, no?
No.
This is what I mean, because...
No, the iPad, I guess, was just a drone and an iPad Pro.
The point is that when I give away, because we went to the theater and then we give away the iPad Pro, the same person who won the iPad Pro a few minutes ago won a drone. So imagine the face of the lady when she won an iPad Pro, and a few minutes ago she won a drone too. So it was something like the luckiest person in the planet Earth this day.
Yeah, they have a lucky corner.
Yes,
they too. I like this idea with stamps. This reminds me of like museums. Yeah, so you get to a museum and you have this brochure that describes you what an exposition is about, and it describes every piece that you can see there. And once you get to this part of the exhibition, you just take a stamp into your booklet, and this helps you to make sure that you saw all the important things in the exhibition. And when they implement this during the conference, on one hand, this helps people to get engaged and, of course, win interesting prizes. On the other hand, this helps sponsors and those who participate the event to attract more attention. And this is very, very good idea, and this very thoughtful from the organizers. And kudos to them.
I've been, sorry, just only because I want to brag about, I've been on the Dubai Expo a couple of years ago, and they had a similar idea, and that's like the only for video version of podcast. They were giving away this kind of passport with like 140 pages, so you can get stamps for each country there.
Nice.
I hoped actually for some kind of passport like this as a souvenir on this conference. But was still super nice, as I say. It just motivates everyone to visit it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask what happens when the person visits, for example, our booth. Like, do you just hand them stamp and farewell, or do you like take the opportunity to make him stop, to talk to them, to introduce yourself? So what was the overall general engagement when the person reads you?
okay, you have the stamp collector, because they have this person who only wants to go there to get an stamp, and it's okay, he goes there. Oh, see, you put the stamp, and sometimes they want to talk a bit, because but he is still an stamp collector. He doesn't want to know anything about the company or
No, wait. Before you go, listen, I will tell you about our services.
Yes, but at the end it's 3 days. Okay, really 2, but okay, it's 3 days there, and then at the first hours when someone is coming but day by day you are tired, no? And then sometimes it's okay. You want the stamp? I will put you a stamp. That's all. But apart from these stamp collectors, there are another kind of people who wants to know about the companies, because, for example, in our room we were all the silver sponsors. For example, on our left it was Circle CI, on our right it was what is this security company?
Checkmarks.
Thank you. So we have Semaphore in front of us. We have plenty number of companies in the same room. And in the gold sponsor room, you have GitHub, for example, and you have many other companies. So then the people goes there, and then there is a second kind of people, is the stamp collector, and then you have the marketing collector, because what do we do? What a company is doing to be noticed is creating merchandising. So you have packs, you have t-shirts. For example, you can see these t-shirts. Okay, maybe if you're in the podcast and you're only hearing, you cannot see the t-shirt. You have soft toys. I'm going to say teddy bear, Kirill. You have plenty of themes. You have, and there are people who goes stamp by stamp collecting all these merchandising themes. And you have, of course, stickers, and the best stickers in the planet Earth are from NKDev. This is known everywhere. Everyone who was coming to the table was telling, you are a sticker company, or what is that? And then there is a third type of people, who is the one who is really a person who is interested. And he's talking to you, and he's trying to understand what do you do, and you need to understand that there are two kind of companies. There are companies like they are selling a software, like, for example, Circle CI or Semaphore, that it was in front of us. Or there are companies like us, that we are not selling a software, we are selling a service. So then depends on what you are selling, the people could be more or less interested in you. And then you talk about what do you do, how to do things. And then there is another kind of people who is technical geeks, and they go to talk to you and to talk about technical things, something like that. And for sure, known people, friends, and things like that.
How many of those people who you had a chance to talk to are really technical geeks? So I want to explain where this question comes from, because I've been to a number of different conferences, and I think that I have my own source of grades, of types of conferences. One, you are visiting to learn something. The other one, you're visiting to have fun and entertain yourself. And another, you're visiting to communicate with people who you have something in common. For example, I've been on the games development conference, and where I was interested to visit all the panels, all the talks, because they've been talking about the game development process, and I really like to learn more about it. And even though I didn't understand a lot of what they're talking, I still like to listen to them, to learn about the process, just be immersed into the process a little bit. And this was really entertaining for me. I didn't get any useful from that except for entertainment. The other conference, marketing conferences that I attended to learn something useful for my profession. And most of them are completely boring because I'm not interested in communicating with other people. The topic is it's your job, and it's not like entirely different from watching YouTube videos on marketing themes or reading books or articles. And the third part is when you get to the conference specifically to talk to such geeks. And this is where the most interesting part comes in, because based on what they're talking to, what they're talking about, who they are, how they look, you can make some understanding of the industry, of the audience you are working with or you are planning to sell to. So this is the most interesting part to me. And I remember when we've been attending RubyConf, there were a lot of Ruby developers, and I remember how they've been gathering around our booth, even though they were not directly interested in what I'm saying to them, but they were interested to gather together, and they stayed there and they talked to each other, discussing some trends or something else. And because they formed like a circle of people talking to each other, they attracted even more people, and then more and more people joined. And it's always happened like around our booth on the conference. And I was looking at them and I was checking their outfits, how they look, what they say, where they live. They discussed a lot of like remote work from all the different countries. And this gave me the perfect understanding on who are the Ruby developers at that time of our life. And this was the most interesting part of that conversation, because I learned a lot about people, a lot about them, who are they, what their personalities are. So, and this is my question for you two guys. Who are the peoples who attended this? What they are mostly interested in, what they're talking about? Did you manage to eardrop on their talks, or maybe you partake in this, or what's the buzz about?
So do you want to answer, Kirill, or do you want me to?
I actually got of the course, there are lots of different people there.
It was a long question, by the way. So,
Yeah. No, the question was short, but I just want to make you
just leave me alone.
When I used to say, "Do you want to answer, Kirill?" because my friend it was in another place too. So this is the reason that I always do that.
One hour question.
It was really.
Okay, we can I can help you.
That's all for now for our podcast. Thank you. See you next time.
Just transform
okay,
to a
what
solo
I mean,
podcast.
there are a lot of different things, different reasons why you attend the conferences. And since you didn't visit a lot of talks, and obviously you won't be able to tell me what they were talking during the talks, but obviously you heard a lot what people are talking to each other, to you, and what was the general themes and what they were talking about.
Okay, the general theme was can I get a stamp for my sponsor passport? That was the most unique, because as Pavel said, they come with this paper to get a stamp, or 90% of them, because really there are 3 or 4 humans who just came they don't need anything. They don't need the stickers. They don't need the passport stamps. They don't need an iPad. They don't need anything. They really came to our table just to talk to us, as and leave without getting anything, which was at the same time nice, because someone actually shows genuine interest into in the company, and also not nice because but we have all these stickers. They're so beautiful. The team designed them. Can you take some of them? And you had this as Paul said, a stupid mountain of stickers that we were trying to get rid of. But we were successful at getting rid of them, because I was surprised. At first it seems there are too many, and then in 2 hours, actually we need to bring more from our bags, because we had lots of bags in the bag. But I managed to. We couldn't talk really deep to every person, but to the ones I managed to talk to was really nice in terms of the industries. There were companies who were doing solar panels, for example. So they kind of organize the selling of solar panels to the consumers, and they provide some, like, and the guy that I was talking to, he's working on this basically a customer portal for people with the solar panels, where you can see how much electricity you produced or consumed, and how much money you'll get back if you overconsumed or like put too much electricity back into the net. There was another guy, which is really cool to talk to. I forgot the name of the company because like it's bad with names, but the company, they basically digitalize lots of scientific research and books and papers. I think similar that our Alex used to do before for the library. So they provide an archive, digital archive of human knowledge in Netherlands. So they take like some old scientific papers, they scan it, and they store it in the archive forever. And also super cool is to discuss that the challenges they have in terms of data storage, because they're currently on premise, they have to maintain all this infrastructure. And he was telling us that the price they pay for per gigabyte of storage on premise is 2 times more than they would pay in something like AWS S3. But they cannot just move to AWS S3 because of compliance. They need to always kind of find a way to negotiate with their like internal lawyers and to find a good justification for this move, which is kind of cool because cloud is super good for this long-term storage because like it's super cheap, and then there are like lots of storage tiers. But then sometimes because of the bureaucracy, you cannot really use it. It's just good talk with this person. There was some guys from Allianz, which is a bit funny, like, because we were talking, they're like, where are you from? We are from Munich. We're also from Munich. And where do you work? Allianz. Great. Customer of ours. I was like, okay, here are the stickers. Talk to you later, I guess. Pablo had because I had to leave Pablo a couple of times. And that's actually one of the...
Yes, I remember that moment. Yes.
Because there are some things that this conference did really well, and some things that I think it was not done really well or was not prepared so well in advance. Because we had a feeling, or at least I had the feeling, that the conference place and how it was organized, it was not made for 500 plus people. So when there was a lunchtime, there would be 2 food trucks outside for the lunch. And we were on the 3rd floor, on the 2nd floor, and then like someone has to go down and pick up the food and bring it back. And there was a line, like basically from conference place, the line would go to Budapest. It was like insane. This would take like 1 hour to get food. And then I had to leave Pablo because I don't want Pablo to starve. So I was hunting for food. We kind of split these responsibilities.
That this is something that, for example, in Porto was not happening. Because in Porto... Okay, and even the food is different, because we had to say that Porto was like when you go to a 2-star Michelin, and sorry to say that to the people in Netherlands, but the food in Porto was something like something amazing, fantastic that you want to repeat and repeat and repeat.
And the space as well.
Only the food, eh? Yes, and the space, but only the food because the thing is that when Porto is over, ciao, see you. The conference is over. There is no party. There is nothing. But in this one. The food was, sorry to say that again, it was mostly sandwiches and then downstairs burgers. So, and the food in Porto is something impressive. You had
Except
fish.
Thursday, just have this credit for Amsterdam on Thursday night when there was a catering company. Exactly. That was incredible because the issue was that it's just too many people per square meter, but cannot say anything against the food on this day, on this night.
Exactly. This day, no, because in the evening, not the lunch time, the evening night, it was something, because they prepare even salmon and they have this burger, and they have burgers and veggie burgers too in case that you want to have veggie burgers, but not this type of veggie burger made with a salad, that there are people who put a salad, they smash the salad and they say, okay, this is a burger. No, this kind of burger that are good. No, and even they have beer for everyone. They have whatever water they want to drink, sparkling water. You have everything. It was super
unlimited
fantastic.
Beer.
Yes, I remember that.
I could see what happens when you give unlimited beer to people. with some of the MKDev colleagues.
What can we do, kid? So we are bad people, But it wasn't only me, We were we were at least a group of us. It was really happy with the free beer.
No, really, the Thursday, this events on the Thursday night, because there was basically this barbecue is outside. There was a musical surprise planned, but it didn't happen. And afterwards there was bingo, so we all like gathered in this big room and we could play bingo and win prizes. Like the amount of prizes was just insane, because I said like this is sponsored passport prize collection, but there was also bingo where people could win. And really fun, because the organizers on stage, they were like making everyone laugh all the time. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And after bingo there was a karaoke.
Mhm.
And really I was talking to a colleague, and I was telling that basically my expectation when I saw karaoke was that from IT people, karaoke starts and everyone leaves and nothing happens.
No, it was full.
But it was not the case, because they actually stayed.
It was the
People stayed
opposite.
for 3 hours, and they were maybe like it started slowly, but then it just became this a party with people singing non-stop, songs constantly changing, people who sing constantly changing. And some point was strange, because we left the building a couple of times just to go outside, and then it's still sun is still shining, because maybe like 9 p.m. But in this room with karaoke, you feel like it's already midnight or like 1 a.m. and you're in some nightclub. And then you go outside, like, oh, it's still sunny. It just feels wrong. The brain broke a bit, couple of times there because of this difference.
I enjoy a lot this
This
moment.
happens when people have unlimited access to beer.
Yes, but not everyone, because you have Kirill, that is an no beer guy.
There's also unlimited access to cola
Yes.
and iced tea
And he was enjoying a lot too.
and water, of course.
There are no challenges that we couldn't overcome. Whether it is immediate infrastructure problems or planning a future project, we won't simply answer your questions. We become a part of your team to help you complete the mission. Our solutions consider the interests of your business and the combined expertise of the industry, as our staff is made up of more than a dozen experts in different areas who share decades of field-tested experience and knowledge with you.
So I wanted to learn why people in general visit this kind of conferences. From your experience, I said whether they're there to gain some knowledge, to hang out with people, or to have fun. So from your experience, what was the main group of people, what they were doing there? And you also met some of our partners, our clients, why they in particular visit this. Because, for example, if you take the person, this nice lady that won iPad from our giveaway, she is, as if I'm not mistaken, she's a junior developer, and I can imagine she's been visiting to learn something. She even said that this was her first ever conference, and looks what happens. She won iPad. So people take notes, visit such events more, because who knows, maybe you will win too. But anyway, so obviously she visited to learn something. And those people you've been talking to, I wouldn't expect to meet a person who create solar panels on the DevOps conference. To me, this is an entirely different areas. So, and I can imagine how they are creating the application that calculates all the power that you produce, that you consume, or something like that. But I cannot imagine this requires cloud solutions or something like that. But maybe you can explain it to me. But this, in general, a bit odd to me why this person visited. Do you have the answer, why these people engaged there? Were they looking for what?
Another group of people that also was maybe 5 people who attended our booth. They were searching for a job, so they were kind of
Good point.
They wanted to become a DevOps engineer. They may be junior, or they just finished the project and is looking for something else. There were a couple of freelancers with whom we'll be in touch, who are maybe finishing the project in 1-2 months, and which was cool for us because they come to us like, yeah, actually we do DevOps consulting, so we can work together on new projects in the future.
How is this? Okay, so how the conference is better to find a job rather than going to the job board? Why do you think this is really a good option to find?
Simply because of a personal contact, because you can sing karaoke with someone, and that's different than just to click apply on LinkedIn. You actually talk to people, you can learn, and you can learn about the company from people who work there. And there is like no like HR wall between you and the actual people who work in the company. So you can learn more about what different companies do. You can talk to like co-founders of some consultancies, for example, and learn more about it. Or you can go to Circle CI and talk to, there's like 4 people from Circle CI, and you can learn about the product and see if it's cool or not.
Yeah. So basically, if you drank beer with hiring manager who is looking for new employees, and you don't engage with HR, and you are basically a friend with hiring manager already, and this helps you to secure your position in that company once you apply.
Because some companies also go there to hire and search for people. So it's always a bit of some part of such conference is always some job marketplace, because you have people who search for new engineers and you have engineers who search for a new job.
And you need to think that not every conference is the same. For example, this one, it was full of engineers. So there is another conferences that are full of leads, or they're full of CXO people. And this kind of conference, there is no few CEOs, few CTOs. It was more a conference for IT people. For the low and medium part. You can have some leader of teams, but there are few CTOs. So in this case, what is the reason? Because the people is coming to this conference. These kind of people, the points that Kirill is telling, plus I think that the people love to belong to something. The first day, when we arrived, I don't remember this lady. She was the presenter, and even the presenter of the karaoke that I don't remember the name of this lady. Sorry?
Floor with the short hair. Floor.
Yes, this one. And she was asking, how many times did you come to this conference? And she was telling, imagine, 1 year. So last year and this one. And 300 people raised a hand. And she started to say 2 times, 3 times. And there was a guy it was the number 12 or number 13, the 13th time that he went to these conferences. So yes, so there are people who loves that because
fantastic.
They feel that they are part of something. So they belong to something. And this is like why you belong to a club, why you support a football club, why do you, at the end it's more or less the same, I think that this is something important because we need to differentiate between the business and the company part, where we are involved, and the people who love the IT, and the people who really are happy to be part of that. And maybe they see people that every year they can see there, or maybe in 3 months they go to Rotterdam because there is another conference, and all of them they see together and they talk together. Hey, hello, how are you? I think that when you belong to a club or you belong to a group, the people feel better, and this is something important to consider too.
Especially in the remote default life, when you work with people all over the world.
Yeah.
Like you sometimes forget actually. So in my case, I live in Munich, and there is a huge community of DevOps people here as well, or the infrastructure engineers. So I don't need to always go to Reddit to talk to people from my industry. There are lots of them right here. And conference is a place to meet with these local professionals.
Exactly.
And I assume most of the people who attended this particular conference, they were from Netherlands and from Amsterdam, and not many people came there from different countries.
There were a lot from Germany. There was a lot from Belgium. I was talking to one guy, he's from the company. I think they make something like booking appointments. I forgot, but what I remember is that they're using Smalltalk, and we were discussing not about Smalltalk because I I never encountered Smalltalk as a production language being used in the company. It's pretty cool. So from Belgium, there was like a group of people.
Wait, hold on. I didn't understand. What do you mean by small talk as a production?
There's a programming language called Smalltalk. That was an inspiration.
Oh,
actually, like, also when he said, because he was like, yeah, like we are doing some small talk. It's like they mean small talk.
Pomedarian.
And then it's one of the languages that served as an inspiration for Ruby, for example, and one of these first true fully object-oriented languages was Smalltalk. But for me, it was something from the past. But it's actually a Belgian company that runs fully on Smalltalk. All of the apps are in Smalltalk.
Okay, so they're not talking about whether
many people from USA. Well, not many, but a lot enough for us to constantly bump into them at the conference.
Why does this happen? Okay, so I can imagine like when people from neighboring countries would like to visit DevOps conference, DevOps days particularly, and they don't have DevOps days, for example, in Belgium. That's why they visit DevOps days in Amsterdam, but you have plenty of DevOps days in USA.
But that's, if you live in USA, maybe you want to go to Amsterdam to visit. It's more cool than to go from, from Washington to Washington DevOps days, because you're already there.
There is something more than just hang out with people.
Come on, you're talking about Amsterdam. So, everyone was excited to be in Amsterdam. It's not something like it's something with no... the people from GitHub, they were coming from California. And the people from Circle CI was coming from USA too, if I remember properly. So there were many people from USA who were coming. Even there were one guy, at least me, coming from Africa. So
I think especially for developer advocates, that's their job. Like the company sponsors, like Elasticsearch, they seem to try to sponsor everything, and they send developer advocates and to give talks and talk to people. And then if you're like, they're quite often from USA, and they just travel always around the world and visit all the conferences. So it's the marketing part of conferences for sure there for sponsors. They need to send someone from US to come here and
sorry to interrupt you. When I was in the airport, I saw 3 guys with the DevOps Days t-shirt in the airport. So, and I was with my NKDev, and they were pointing to me with the finger, something like, "This is the free beer guy."
Best t-shirt.
Speaking about
this is the guy from best sponsor of the conference with best stickers.
Best stickers. It was a sticker factory. They told to me, beautiful sticker factory. And even the problem is that we were making this joke to everyone. That what do you do? No, we're a sticker factory. Oh wow!
For me, there were also these people who that's like, because we had a screen with the video, which basically says everything what we do, and there were those people who are like, they would come, but in a safe distance, maybe 4 meters, would stand and look at the screen, and then like, okay, got it. And they just go to the next table. So like there are 2 humans sitting, is like, just like come closer. Okay, yeah, I know everything now. Just observing from the far.
Okay, so basically the video advertisement that we put together worked, but at the same time it worked too well. Maybe we should
No, because I think because the amount of people who did this just like looked at the roll-up and the video and then just left, it was very small. Most people were like, "So what do you guys actually do?" And I was like, "But you have it on the roll-up and on the screen." Like, okay, like of course we never said that, because we always explained what we do. We always like went through the booklet of the services we offer, etc. But I think because the video we had was most of the time showing the iPad giveaway. And less of the services, so that's why. That's all.
Yes, but everyone was doing this question. What did you do? So
yeah,
always,
except the stamp people.
That's a good observation. We are putting stamps. Yeah. So I think like, or for the next part, we should do something like, what is fractional DevOps? Let's just put this question mark, and everyone comes and asks, and you discuss that. Or maybe even make it.
One is in 3 weeks. So
yeah.
When is the next time?
Yeah.
Next time, 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks, yeah, we'll be there. I wanted to ask you about.
3 weeks, and then it's one in 2 months.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about since we start talking about sponsors. I wanted to ask you about big sponsors. You mostly hang out with silver sponsors. So did you see what gold and platinum sponsors did? Did they have some cool booths booths there? Yeah, and did they present something spectacular or something like that?
Well, they had a pitch.
Because I remember when I've been visiting another, for example, if we take this RubyConf, I remember there were platinum sponsor and they stole the show by organizing VR booth, and they provided you could test some VRs in different tools of VR, but even though they are not providing services and they do not develop anything in VR, they just attract attention with that. I don't know how it worked and if it didn't work because I don't remember the name of the sponsor, but I remember that they providing VR experience there. And did platinum sponsors in Amsterdam did something similar, or they just have a general booths?
They had, first of all, they had pitches, so they had blocks during the conference when they can just go on stage and that's something we were not allowed. Even when we were doing giveaway, we were not allowed to talk about the company. We were Pablo was on the stage just to give away the prize.
Yep.
Because that's something you actually pay extra for, to spend 1 minute or maybe some of them have 5 minutes just to talk about via GitHub we do this and this, and then second there was the room of poor sponsors where we were sitting with the Circle CI and the other companies, and there was a room of these gold and platinum sponsors, and they had these big tables with the proper chairs and way more space in general. Plus they had a separate corner with coffee machine just for this room, so more space basically. But in this case, what differs this one from the one in Porto is that in Porto all the sponsors were located between the conference rooms. So when you would walk from the conference room to lunch, for example, you pass through all the sponsors. In this conference, it was kind of two separate rooms that you basically need to intentionally go to, which they, again, handled really well with the sponsor passport, but another difference organization-wise. And these bigger sponsors, they did lots of cool stuff. There was lots of cool Lego. Apparently Lego is a big thing in Amsterdam because almost every sponsor was doing a Lego giveaway. I was struck because I thought I am in Denmark because the amount of Lego was you look around, it's just you see Lego sets everywhere on every table. There were 2 Luke Skywalker's Lego sets, for example, given away. And even there were more because when you go down, there were sponsors that didn't have a table, but they would, for example, sponsor a food truck. Cloudflare, they sponsor some of the food, so they had the roll-up downstairs, and they were doing a giveaway of Lego.
And they were a sponsor for the beer too, remember that.
And for coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
There was sponsor for everything. And one company, and again, what Julia says, actually, I don't remember the name of the company, but they let you build something from Lego. I think Pablo, you went to those ones because I think they had 3 boxes of Lego pieces, and then you could come and cool. Assemble something from Lego.
Luminar. I don't remember, something like that. Yes, and you can make.
Okay, so this is an interesting case because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking why the companies with big names. So everybody know Elasticsearch, everybody know Cloudflare, and when they sponsor beer, food, and the conference, so for them it's basically charity. Okay, thank you Cloudflare for helping organize this event for us. Kudos to you. But they do not. I don't know. They don't attract even more attention, and they don't gain even more clients.
I think they do.
Yes, of course.
I think it works it's this thing with the famous case study of Coca-Cola. Why Coca-Cola sponsors football? Why do we need big Coca-Cola posters?
I don't understand that
we talk
like
about that
two.
with many other sponsors. For example, with this with one of the co-founders of Semaphores, and we were talking with him because we're talking about GitHub and GitLab, and the point is why GitHub is everywhere, because GitHub was there and they don't have any spectacular thing. So
Yeah,
GitHub
but
was
GitHub
there.
is like Coca-Cola.
Yes.
I don't understand it too. Everybody knows GitHub. Everybody use it. Like you can't be in that profession without
Yes,
using
but
GitHub.
why they need to send 5 people there? They don't need to send 5 people, but they prefer to send 5 people even when everyone is using GitHub, because as much as you are even in the soup, even you go to the toilet and you have GitHub, wherever place you go, you have GitHub, you're going to use GitHub. Imagine that you have NKDev everywhere. So you open the TV, you turn on the TV, and you have NKDev. You open your laptop, you have NKDev. You go here,
Okay,
NKDev.
but
At the end,
that's the different cases.
no, but
That's
at
the
the end, you
different
want to
cases.
use.
We don't.
You want to have a company, a
MKDev
DevOps
doesn't provide
consultancy.
services like GitHub
Yes,
does.
but it's how it's working. The marketing is working by repetition, and it's working by again and again and again and again.
That's I agree with. But okay, and at the same time, GitHub. Okay, I understand I understand why silver sponsors are there, because I looked through the list of silver sponsors, and there are a lot of companies I didn't know about, and I was interested to learn what they are doing. And from this point of view, it worked because I clicked. At the same time, so you said like one of the big sponsors who gave you the opportunity to play with Lego, and you named the name that I didn't know before. And in that case, I can imagine and I can see how it works. They attract people, providing cool things for you to engage with, and you learn their name. Not because who they are, what they do, and this is a way for you to learn about them. And basically for me, like this is the only case like where this gold or platinum sponsorship can work. But for the company, if it's a smaller company, like it's a big amount of money to spend on platinum sponsorship.
Yeah.
And that's just why I think that not many companies are doing that, and only big companies like GitHub or Elasticsearch are capable of doing this.
And for small companies, it's to get the name into the head, and for the bigger ones, the idea is that the name sticks there. Because GitHub, like for sure everyone knows GitHub, but there was a period of time, like 3-4 years ago, when GitHub was like before GitHub was acquired by Microsoft, and it was stagnating because there were like no new features being released, and GitLab was becoming more and more popular because GitLab had GitLab CI and all the other features built in, and people would start like there were companies that would just go for GitLab and not GitHub because GitLab just offered more. And now like GitHub is back into the game. Is there's GitHub Actions, code spaces, and all the other cool features. And if you look at this conference where we've been, GitLab also, they were a sponsor, but the bronze sponsor. So the only way you could see GitLab is you look at the list of sponsor logos, and they're like somewhere at the bottom, like it's smaller than MKDev, there's GitLab. But GitHub is like this huge logo, and they had this huge table, and everyone see GitHub all around the conference.
Okay, this makes sense.
So you get this idea in the head is that the default choice is GitHub and not GitLab. And same for Elastic. How many tools are out there for logging and observability? But Elastic is there at every conference. So when you attend conferences, you get this idea that maybe Elasticsearch should be the default choice or is default choice for this kind of tasks.
So I think it's very important, because and at the end, what Kirill is telling out, for example, this case with GitHub and GitLab, is one is bronze, the other one is gold. One has no table, the other one has a huge table. And now these 500 people, if tomorrow they need to choose between what CI/CD tool, okay, we need to say that Semaphore was there and Circle CI was there too. So there were 4 sponsors with CI/CD. If you need to choose between GitLab and GitHub, at the end, most of the people is going to choose mostly GitHub because they were there. So is the reason because the people goes there and the company spend money and pay at the conference, because at the end the sponsors are the people who pay the conferences, who pay the food, who pay the everything, and this is the reason, because you need to be there. It's like who paid the TV? The sponsors pay the TV. Mm-hmm. You can watch TV because there are sponsors who think that when you are watching whatever thing on TV, or a TV show, someone is going to pay an advertisement, and then you are going to remember. And what is the way that you remember this image? Repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. We were talking with the Circle CI people that 3 years ago, they have a huge campaign in YouTube, about Circle CI advertisement. Millions, because these kind of huge American California companies, they work in the way that I'm going to lose money to grow. So I spend millions and millions to grow. And then the people introduce more money. And then I grow more. And then people buy more and more. And then one day you can leave the company and the other one stay in the company with the debt. Because this is how these huge monster companies works, these American companies. And they made a huge campaign and everyone knows Circle CI. But for example, now they have, I may be telling wrong number, but they were telling that they have 150 developers for the CI/CD. And 150 is a huge number. I don't know, because this lady from GitHub, she was telling the amount of people that they have from developers in GitHub, and it's not something that you can say, okay, they have in GitHub 2,000, and here they have, more or less it's a compared number. But if you are not there, nobody knows you. You need to be here. You need to be present.
Yes.
Another example, sorry, about the Formula One. If you look at if you look at the sponsors of Formula One teams, you see Oracle, AWS, and Microsoft. And because you always look at these cars, not these people driving, the logos, especially AWS, because AWS is a sponsor of Ferrari team, but they also sponsor the trucks. So if you see like this Spanish Barcelona F1 Grand Prix, it's called Spain Barcelona AWS Grand Prix.
Yes.
Because for sure they want, and also for sure IT people know AWS, but they want everyone to know AWS, because also decisions about migrating to the cloud, especially for big companies with rich executives who maybe attend the F1 races, they'll be there looking at Oracle logo.
Do you think this works?
You can look at the top 4 clouds.
Do you want to sponsor a Formula One team, Leo? Is what you want to say?
Well, yeah, that
if it's
would be
Fernando
great,
Alonso, I am okay. If it's not Fernando Alonso, sorry. This is not with me. I'm sorry, Carlos.
I know a lot of financial, like fintech startups or fintech companies like sponsoring sport events, like racing or sailing. I know several companies, several fintechs who are sponsoring sales team. Sail when you are going on yachts using that. Swims using sails, and they're sponsoring a number of teams, and they partake in championships in different ways. And I can understand that, because people who are engaged in sport are more likely to engage in financial, when you make stakes or when you make some investments. This is some kind of spirit involved. But when we talk about IT or cloud services, you surprised me with the fact that AWS sponsors Formula One team. This was unexpected. Like, why is it even your audience here? Because to me, it's entirely different.
No, for sure, the audience is there, because who is going to decide to invest 50 to 100 million to migrate a big bank to the cloud? It won't be an attendee of a DevOps Days, sorry. It will be top executives.
This is the point.
And there are probably also some salespeople in this.
But do you think like when a top executive goes to Dubai or goes to any other country that host Formula One, and they see this logo, and they, oh yeah, I should tell my CTO that we should pick AWS. But is it even here to decide this? Or they assume that CTO of a bigger company is there too and watching the race?
At this, if you talk about huge companies, when they decide which cloud to use, there are like lots of sales and lots of politics. and sponsoring these huge events is part of it, but I'm sure there are also people involved with AWS and Amazon at the event itself who know who goes there and talk to them. So for sure it's not just the logo, but it's one of the things, because you go there and you see that AWS is this huge thing, because you see a whole truck being more or less like AWS built or sponsored. So I think it does play a role.
This is interesting.
And it's
I
not
never
only
thought
that.
about it in that way.
But Leo, you need to think too something like what Kirill says now about the big word. It's important because, okay, nobody wants to be with a loser. So and it's something that is in our body. You don't want to be with a company that is losing. You don't want to be. You want to be always with a winner. And what is the best way to show for a company that you are a winner? Because you have money to spend in advertisement. Because if you don't have money, you cannot spend in advertisement. And if you spend millions, it's because you have more millions back in the bank. Because you don't spend something that you don't have. So then if you see AWS with millions and millions in advertisement, and you have to choose between Azure, Google Cloud, or AWS, and you see, because you love Formula One, like one guy that we know here, and it's not me, neither is you, Leo. So, and you love Formula One, and you are watching daily AWS, and as Kirill is telling, you are a decision maker, and you are the person who is going to be in the board deciding Google Cloud or AWS. Why not? It's like if you love football and your team, imagine, is I don't know, Real Madrid, and you have sorry to say that, I think the sponsor of Real Madrid is Emirates Airlines, or I think it's Emirates. So, and then you need to make an agreement with Emirates or with Air Europa. Maybe you say, let's go to do the agreement with Emirates because they pay to my team. So it's the same. You need to compare all these things. And normally the people who watch Formula One, at least the people that goes to the place to watch the Formula One, normally is medium high class. It's not it's not a cheap sport to go to watch, because I've been once many years ago, but you went last time to, I don't remember where you went to. Jeddah, yes. And I went to Indianapolis, and the other day I was watching a video in Miami, and only the parking car, to left the parking car in Miami, it was almost, for the 3 days, it was almost $200 only to park the car. So plus the entrance, plus the food, plus you spend maybe $2,000, $3,000 in one weekend. So it's a play with money. And the people with money is decision makers.
And you can see on every event, so the Formula One, just like to continue Formula One topic, is have this paddock club.
Yes.
Which is basically the tickets for this one cost $5,000 to $6,000 and more for the event. And you can see in Instagram Formula One who attends this, because they also in their social media they kind of highlight, there's like Tom Cruise, or there's like Will Smith, or there's Tim Cook is there in this paddock club. So like not so many, like there are particular group of people who can actually afford like $5,000 to $6,000 for this kind of ticket. And of course, like you want to reach these people as a sponsor.
And basically what we're talking here about is this is emotional decision making involved rather than objective based decision making.
And the same in tech. So it's like there's basically the illusion, I think, that technical decisions are made with a very like sober mind, and that we just really analyze everything. But no, it's the same humans who make decisions in the same way. So the same marketing tricks work as good as with any other product, be it Coca-Cola or AWS.
Yeah. So, and that's another reason why this GitHub sponsorship works. So, you just basically bomb everyone's brains with GitHub. And when it comes to selecting a tool, our brain don't even remember other options other than GitHub at some point. Yeah. And this is basically how it works.
Or other options, because one of the things that happened last week is Basecamp. We talked about them quite a lot because they migrate from the cloud back to on-premise, and they finished migration. We were discussing like in one of the first episodes how long it will take them. It took 6 months. So now all of Basecamp is back to on-premise, and they save on this $1.5 million per year. And the reason I bring it up is that if you start reading the reactions to this migration, like the percentage-wise, the biggest kind of opinion on this, or the most shared opinions, that it's crazy, they use the cloud wrong, they don't know what they're doing, they just want to squeeze more money out of the business. So again, why people think this way, that there is only one option in this world, it's the cloud. It's also
advertisement,
for sure, a result of advertisement marketing.
Yes.
Because we've been convinced that the only way to do things is cloud. So when someone says, well, actually we saved like almost 2 million per year and we are totally fine and we can grow as fast and actually our application is more performant, you have this cognitive issue, but everyone told me that the cloud is the best thing. They probably did something wrong. And now everyone is so convinced that it's hard for a company of a smaller scale like Basecamp, because they still like 100 people, even though they have so many customers. It's hard for them to change in the human brain that there is another way to do things. And there's nothing rational about this discussion from people who say that, yeah, Basecamp is stupid. And the guys are doing the business for more than 20 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that is one of the reasons why we will decide to continue our sponsorship of the events. We are going to Munich in a few weeks, and we will be talking about this a little bit more in the future episodes. And if you guys don't want, the guys who are listening to us today, if you don't want to miss this, give us a like, subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to MKDev Dispatch newsletter. That's the best way to get along with everything that happens at MKDev. We share everything that we learned, everything that we produced in the newsletter. And I would like to thank every one of you who joined us today. And see you in the next one.
See you.
Thank you, guys. Adios.
The cloud tech industry is evolving so fast. Do you keep up with it by improving your skills or upskilling your team? At MKDev, we offer a variety of workshops for just that, from the basics to expert knowledge. Before delivering our workshops and training sessions, we carry out a detailed assessment of each participant. To make sure the workshop is helpful for you and your team, we will add more content to it or throw out what you already know. Or we create a custom workshop specifically for the needs of your team and the specifics of your project.